Woo! Let's see what's down here. Fragrance monster. Hey friends, Ash here. Welcome back to Gents. Hope that you're doing well. A little while back on the community tab of the YouTube channel, I asked you guys, what do you think is the best fragrance that you can buy right now for under 50 bucks at Discounter? And I've taken 20 of your top vote-getting fragrances, and I'm gonna break them out into tiers. I'm gonna let you know which ones of the 20 that you chose are, in my opinion, the best of the best, which ones are almost there. All the fragrances I'm gonna talk to you guys about here today are linked in the description, broken out into their specific tiers in which I'm going to place them, which I gotta admit, I'm actually not really looking forward to, because it's like, I don't really actually know where to put this. But they are there in the description, and as well, there are also some codes that you can use to save yourself some money. So here they are. Use these if you so desire. And there is also a new Joma Shop code, so take notice of that. Put that one in your memory banks. Use that to save yourself some money if you shop at Joma Shop. First one is this one, Mercedes-Benz Club Black. And I do have to say, a little caveat here before we start ranking and rating, these are being done on a little bit of a curve because they're cheap. You know, I'm not gonna grade these on the exact same curve I would something that you had to pay 150 for, or 180 or 200. Each of these you can find under $50. A lot of them are in that like 25 to 30 range. And so I am grading these on a bit of a curve. So Benz Club Black. This one nowadays you can pick up for about 40 bucks at Discounters. And at one point in time, this was close to impossible to find. And if you could find it, it was about double that $40 price point. And some people on eBay were asking even more. This is an amazing vanilla fragrance. In my opinion, actually one of the best designer vanilla fragrances that you can get, regardless of price. Amazing for fall and winter. Really sexy, alluring, cozy type of scent that you could wear formally if you wanted to as well. By that, I mean you could wear it at formal occasions. You knew what I meant. So in this tier list today, this one is going into the best of the best tier. This is one of the best cheapies that you can get. Where to go next? Just like a multitude of fragrances staring me down right down here. At crotch level, staring me in the face. It's weird. We'll go Mont Blanc Legend Spirit. For a 50 mil, you're looking at about 30 bucks for this one, about 40 for a 100 mil. Legend Spirit is really well known for smelling similar to Invictus Aqua from Paco Rabanne, so it's in that style. It's very fresh, but also sweet. Kind of a bubblegummy type of sweetness, actually. And this is one that has fluctuated a little bit over the years. You know, a little while back, this was actually cheaper than that price point that I just read off to you. 30 to 40 right now. It used to be less. So while it's still a great deal, it used to be an even better deal. I do think for most people out there, this is one of the best Legend fragrances to get. Personally, I would lean maybe toward Legend Eau de Parfum for myself if I had to just choose one from the entire lineup, or Legend Blue. I actually really like Legend Blue. But this is still a fantastic, cheap fragrance. This one really well done. So I'm gonna put this in the tier below Mercedes-Benz Club Black. We'll call that the top-notch tier. It's top-notch. It's not the best of the best, but it's still top-notch. It's a really good cheap. Follow that one up with another summery scent, Jimmy Choo Man Ice. Now this is a fragrance that gets compared all the time to Dior Homme Cologne. Basically, you could think of this as a more affordable alternative to that fragrance. And while the overwhelming majority of people agree that they are quite similar, especially in the opening, they do kind of split and go different ways a little bit as they start to dry down, but this is still a great release for summertime. Really fresh, very brisk, extremely uplifting. The citrus in there smells amazing off the top. But there is a potential issue with this one, and that's the performance. The performance of Jimmy Choo Man Ice, not very good. It's not great. It dissipates fairly quickly when it's really hot outside, which is Kind of a bummer because it's really made to be worn when it's really hot outside. Honestly though, Dior Homme Cologne, it does pretty much the same thing. So yeah. So this is one of those ones that, you know, it's kind of, I want to put it here in the top-notch category because I actually love the way this stuff smells, and I do think that it's an amazing cheap buy. But that performance issue for some people is going to be a huge deal. For other people, not as big of a deal. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put it in the top-notch category because I think it just smells amazing. But if performance is very important to you, move that one down. The next category down is gonna be the almost there category. It's almost there, but it needs some work. And so, like I said, performance. How important is it to you? I'm thinking about it right now. Maybe I wanna move it down. I'm gonna move it down. I'm gonna be harsh. I'm gonna move it down. It's in the almost there category. But again, to reiterate, I think it smells great. So, yeah. L'Homme Rocus up next. This one, I think it's generally like 25 to 35, depending on the size of the bottle that you get and where you're shopping, but still really inexpensive. It's a blue fragrance, so made for versatility. It's easy to use. It's not the same as Dolce & Gabbana K, but if I were to point to a really well-known blue fragrance, I think it's closest to that one. So, you know, between KY, KY, what are we talking about here? Sauvage, Bleu de Chanel, all those, it's closest to K. This is another one that I think if you're after a good quality blue fragrance, that's a great choice. And it's another one kind of like Jimmy Choo Man Ice where, you know, it's kind of between here. I think it's a great cheap buy, but I think that going up against a lot of the other ones that are here, it's just, I'm trying to be harsh, you know, and like put the best of the best up there. So I'm gonna put it here, almost there. I think it's extremely well done, very competently done, but it also misses out a bit compared to some of the big dog blue fragrances, where it doesn't, for a lot of people anyway, quite have that hook, right? So like when you smell Bleu de Chanel Sauvage, why? You know immediately what's going on. You know what that is. It's got the hook, and the hook brings you back. Explorer next up, Mont Blanc Explorer, of course, really well known for being basically like a designer take on Creed's Aventus. And with that comes year-round versatility, big compliment factor, daytime or evening use. It's got a little more of like a fresh, spicy tinge to it compared to Aventus, but still, we all know what's going on here. It's similar to Aventus. So like I said, originally I had this top notch, but I think when it comes to cheapies, Explorer is one of the best bangs for your buck out there in terms of how often you can use it, how well it works, and just the whole deal, right? Presentation looks good on it, and it's just a well-done Aventus alternative. Compared to a lot of the ones out there, I would actually rather wear Explorer if we're talking about a lot of the clones. I mean, there's a billion of them out there. Yeah, I think I'm reaching for that one. So it's one of the best when we're talking cheapies. Okay, this is an interesting one. Bentley for Men Intense. This one presents a problem. It is not easy to wear for your average person. Now, for somebody super into fragrances, they will probably smell this and be like, wow, quality, insane. Like, how does it smell that good at that price point? Like, what is going on here? There's a lot going on with it. There's rum, leather, incense, woods, got some aromatics in there, some deeper resinous notes. It's similar to Idole de Luban, which is a niche fragrance that's more expensive than this one that I own and also love. Well, obviously it's more expensive than this one. It's in the cheapie list. So the quality here is just way higher than you would expect for the price point. So if we're ranking this based solely on quality, easy, best of the best. If we're ranking this taking everything into account, you know, wearability, for example, compliment factor, it starts moving down this way real quick. So if we're doing wearability, I would put that over here. Needs work. I think if you're heavily into fragrances and you don't mind wearing things that other people would find challenging, and look, I'm not saying this is the most challenging thing on earth. That's not what I'm saying here. But what I am saying is when you have your normal person, your average person who's wearing, Eau de Parfum, right? They're gonna smell this and be like, dude, when am I gonna wear that? Never. I guess I'm gonna put it here, almost there. Keeping in mind, kind of like what I talked to you about with the Jimmy Choo Man Ice here, if wearability is important to you, it moves down. If quality is important to you, it moves up. Camera is up next from Lattafa, one of the biggest cologne fragrances on the market. This is, of course, an alternative to By Kilian's Angel Share, and I think it is excellent. This stuff is very well done. You can spray it on, smell it immediately. You have no kind of chemical mess when you first spray it on. Some cheaper cologne fragrances have that. This does not. Very rich, very sweet, big compliment puller, easy to wear, good performance. Everything about this is spot on in terms of like ticking all the boxes that you want in a fragrance. So for me, Camera, best of the best. That is one of the better cheapies you can buy. Also one of the better cologne fragrances you can buy. Do another cologne, Starmin Nebula from Fragrance World. So this is a cologne of Pure Malt from Mugler, and that is an amazing fragrance. Super good. Unfortunately discontinued, which is where this little beauty comes in. Presentation on it is a little funny. It's always reminded me kind of the Nautica Voyage bottles, just in terms of the shape. It's a little different, but kind of like that. This one off the top is good, not great, but as it dries down, it's fantastic. As it dries down, it gets really close to Pure Malt. Basically as close as you're gonna get without just ponying up and buying the real thing. I think it's a great alternative. This one I would suggest you pick up from Fragrance Buy. They have it like 26, 27, I think. Most other stores that I've looked at have it around 40. So a better deal from Fragrance Buy for sure. This one I'm gonna put right here with Legend Spirit, top notch. One of the better cheapies that you can get without breaking into that like must own echelon. Unless you really love Pure Malt, then it is. Tarothi Blue up next. Yes, there are a number of different cologne fragrances here, which makes sense because cologne fragrances quality has been going up in general and their price has remained pretty much the same. Really cheap. This one is perfect for summertime. It's a clone of Bulgari's Tiger, and that's a fragrance kind of like Angel Share over there that has just tons of clones at this point. For most people though, this seems to be the one that they gravitate toward. This is like the de facto go-to Bulgari Tiger alternative. So if you want a clone of that fragrance, most people are gonna point you to this one first, and for good reason. Smells amazing, quality's fantastic, citrus in there smells great. It is perfect for spring and summer and early fall also. So this is one I'm gonna put right over here. Best of the best. And then we have Carolina Herrera Chic. Now this one, nowadays, under the radar, for sure, under the radar. You could even call it a little bit of a hidden gem. This one's around 30 to 40 bucks most of the time. So pretty good pricing on it. It's fresh, but also has a little warm, spicy kick to it. So it has a kind of a salty watermelon in the opening, not really like Millesime Imperial, but it still has that nice freshness from the watermelon. You have some cardamom in there initially as well. Pepper, cinnamon, some woods as it dries down. This is another one that's really tough for me to place for a few different reasons. So I think it smells really nice, very wearable, easy going. Quality's good for the price point. The issue is some people are gonna smell that and think it smells a little more dated than most of the other things up here. Came out in 2003, so just over 2 decades old. And comparing to a lot of the other releases here, that makes it stand out a little bit. Like I said though, the quality's pretty good. It's just that it fell off a little bit in terms of its popularity over the years, which makes sense. So it's like, where do you place it? And I think for me, again, if I'm trying to keep it harsh, then I put it here with these guys over here. and I don't feel good about it. But I think that's where I'm gonna have to stick it. Let's follow that up with Artisan Pure from John Varvatos. That is a banger for summertime. I think that it is great for the price point. You can pick it up usually like, I think about 35 or so. I think is what it's usually going for nowadays. It is one of those ones that's fluctuated up and down over the years. So sometimes a little cheaper, sometimes a little more expensive, but that's around what you're gonna find it for. A lot of citrus in there off the top. Whole bunch of different citrus notes. Also has a really nice smooth quality to it. Almost reminds me of white florals to an extent, the way that they mix with citrus, because you don't get that like tart zing from the citrus. Like I said, real smooth, very classy. But also easy to wear in casual situations when it's like 100 degrees outside. And this is one that I'm between here and here. So kind of best of the best. So I think yes, top notch, yes. both of those are very positive things. I'm gonna tentatively put it in here with top notch, leaning over this way. So we'll see how it goes. All right, Missoni Wave up next. Missoni Wave smells similar in ways to Versace Pour Homme. Chanel Allure Homme Sport kind of splits the difference between the two. Really affordable, get a nice presentation with a magnetic cap, I love that. And this one is actually really cheap at full retail. Unfortunately, we've not gotten a new Missoni fragrance for years now, so that's never good. They had Missoni Parfum, which by the way, also really good, smells similar to Bleu de Chanel. And then Missoni Wave, which a lot of you out there absolutely love as one of the best summer cheapies that you can get. But yeah, it's not looking great, I'll say that much. Actually, when I went to look this fragrance up a while back, I checked Missoni's website, at least in the US, it's not on there. That's not great. And then I was searching through retail stores. The only one I could find that had it was Belk, and they only had the 50 ml size left, also not great. Hopefully this does not become one of those fragrances where years from now, you know, people are watching this video going, wait a sec, I looked up Missoni Wave. The only place you can find it is eBay for $200. If that happens, dear friend, at one point in time, it was indeed super cheap. I've seen it happen before, I don't want to see it happen again. Missoni Wave for me, right here, best of the best. That is a killer summertime fragrance, big compliment puller, good performance, smells nice. Presentation, everything does it. You know, it's all good there. Let's get another little S tier, best of the best going. Versace Pour Homme. Yeah, I just mentioned this smells similar to this. Yeah, they're pretty similar. But both of these got a lot of upvotes, and so Versace Pour Homme, I'm just gonna put it right over here, best of the best. I love Versace Pour Homme. It's extremely fresh. Missoni Wave has a little more of like sweetness to it, but I think both of these are great. Immortal, Jean-No, Immortal. Another clone based on Alhambra. This one is a clone of Louis Vuitton, bet you couldn't tell that. L'Immensité, and it's a very well done clone. I don't love how, you know, some of the writing on the front of the bottle has just flaked off due to me handling the bottle. And I'm not being rough with the bottle, okay? It's like I pick it up and I spray it, then I look at my hand and there's like a little black piece from the writing there that's flaked off into my hand. That's not great. It does come with a magnetic cap, but the magnet sucks, so there is that. That's not good. Oh, good. Oh, not good. And this is a tough one. This is a tough one because it's a very, very well done clone, just like Nebula over here. It's just, you know, in my own mind, do I put it up with like the Comras of the world, the Tarothi Blues of the world? And I do not, so I'm gonna have to put it right here. But again, excellent clone, very well done, great bang for your buck. Varvatos, the original Varvatos, don't know where to sit these now. The original Varvatos, that one was a surprise for me to see as you know, the best fragrance you could get for under 50. And I do very much enjoy this fragrance. The issue is gonna be, it's going up against some heavy duty scents here. And to my own personal taste, if I were gonna get a Varvatos fragrance that was, you know, better for fall and winter time, I'd probably go something Varvatos Vintage, for example, or the new XX Intense, even though that's not cheap. So I guess that one doesn't count. But I'd go Barbados Vintage, I think, over this one. And Barbados Vintage, I would put right here. This one, I'm gonna put down there. I also think that for a lot of people out there, it's gonna run into the same issue for them that this one does, which is, frankly, probably a decent amount of people are gonna smell this and go, it smells a little dated at this point. And again, to be fair to that fragrance, it came out 20 years ago, so it makes sense. Milestone up next, Club de Nuit Milestone. Another surprise. If you asked me before taking a look at everything on the community tab, which Club de Nuit do you think it's gonna be? I'd be like, well, Club de Nuit Intense Van, of course. And if not that one, then probably, you know, Iconic or something like that. But no, Milestone, which is a clone of Millesime Imperial. To be fair, it is a good clone of Millesime, and I actually really like Millesime Imperial as well. And this is, once again, just, I hate this. I actively hate this. I'm looking down here. It does not make this tier for me. I'll put it top notch for right now, but I do think that of the fragrances in this tier right now, this would be at the bottom of the tier. Maybe I'll try to rank these tiers out after everything, but probably not. Next fragrance, Dylan Blue from Versace. Now, I think in the grand hierarchy of things, I've said this a bunch of times, that Dylan Blue could possibly be one of, if not the best bang for your buck blue fragrances on the market. And it's because it's affordable, it's from a brand everybody knows, it's a big compliment puller, you can easily wear this year round, you can wear it during the day or night, and the performance is good as well. I mean, it does everything you want with a blue fragrance. You know, it'll get you compliments, you can wear it year round, it's not gonna cost much and everybody's gonna know it and it looks good, it just does it all. So put it right over here, S tier. It's not S tier, it's best of the best tier. I know some people love to hate on Dylan Blue because it's a blue fragrance. There was backlash for a while there where all those blue fragrances were coming out in rapid succession from different houses, and you know, a lot of people just immediately dumped on anything that came out that was a blue fragrance. But really, I feel like that does as good a job for the vast majority of people as, you know, a Bleu de Chanel or a Sauvage, but it's gonna cost you so much less. Coach Green is up next. Now, I gotta be honest here. Coach Green is not my favorite Coach fragrance. I think if I were gonna choose one for this list, it would be the original Coach for men, probably. Coach Platinum is pretty good also. Coach Green has grown on me a bit, but when this first came out, I was kind of not really that excited by the smell. Like I said, it's grown on me a bit, but that kiwi in the opening has this sweetness that hits me in a way that comes across not that natural, like a little touch, maybe soapy, shampoo-y kind of thing. And I know a lot of people don't get that vibe from it, but when it hits my nose, I get a little bit of that. It is really wearable. You know, it's similar to Sauvage in a way, not super similar or anything, but this is one that I'm gonna put down here. I think Coach for Men, the original, might have even been up here, just in terms of like the bang for your buck for that one, I think is great. And then Platinum probably would be here, and then Green is right here. That being said, if you want a newer fragrance release that is versatile, is wearable, is a compliment puller, and when I say wearable, of course these are all wearable, but I'm talking ease of use, and that has a youthful lean to it, check out Coach Green. Ferragamo Uomo Signature up next. That's a personal love of mine. I am biased. That's going over here. I think that the quality for that is through the roof. It's another one that was hard to find for a while. Nowadays, you can get it for about 40 bucks. At that price point, it's a sick deal. Huge performance. Stuff lasts forever, projects like a monster. Great for fall and winter time. Has a roast coffee aspect to it, but it has a nice balanced sweetness as well. And I've said this a bunch of times, but Ferragamo Uomo and Uomo Signature are both kind of like under the radar compliment pullers. You don't really think of them as being compliment beasts, but they actually work really well. All right, final fragrance, Vintage Radio from Latapa. So that is a clone of Paragon from Initio. Really sweet, very sweet, just like the Initio. So when you spray that on, you're gonna get popped. It's really addictive. It's one of those fragrances you wanna just keep going back to, smelling it again and again and again. And this is one that I find, again, kind of like on that borderline between here and there. But I think I'm gonna have to go with my first instinct, put it with these. Now, truth be told, guys, a lot of these fragrances, if you move them one spot up or down potentially, depending on the fragrance, I wouldn't really argue with you. Like if you said, hey man, I think Artisan Pure is actually one of the best, I'd be like, yeah, I mean, it's right there. Or like I said, if you're judging on quality and you want to put Bentley over here, absolutely. If you don't care about the performance as much, Jimmy Choo Man, move that over here for sure. Or if you're a younger guy and you really love that sweetness, that little green tinge that Coach Green has, and you want to move it all the way over there, I wouldn't argue that. But for now, that's where they're gonna be. Like I said, a lot of these I don't really feel great about. I would frankly move most of these up, but I'm trying to like be a little bit harsher and kind of draw a line where I feel these would slot in for most people while also keeping in mind how I feel about each one. Kind of tough to do. So there we go, guys. Thank you for hanging with me. Stay safe out there. And if you want to be in a future video, check out the community tab. I've usually got a question on there and you can leave your fragrance answer and maybe be in a future video. See you guys later.